Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is The Mad Knives, a 5-album, 5-movie sci-fi concept project. And today we're doing an episode from the story series. This is song number 9. We're almost all the way through it. And this one is entitled, It Feels Fine Now. Show the logo, play the music. Okay, so let's do a very brief recap to catch you up if you haven't been watching so far. So it is discovered that a rogue incoming planet is on a certain collision course with Earth. Because of that fact, humanity decides to escape the collision by building millions of homemade spaceships. We successfully do that and get off the planet, but we don't get far enough away for the actual consequences of this planetary disaster. So when the planets do collide, they expel this crazy shockwave of force, and it pushes all of humanity's spaceships back and away from each other and into deep outer space where they can no longer communicate or stay in touch. We've been following one of these ships, the Radio Flyer, and the 5 members of its crew, the Mad Knives, as they try to deal with this disaster on top of a disaster. In the last couple episodes, they had been subject to the emergency protocol that the pilot started up once these disasters compounded. And as part of this emergency protocol, they are all being brainwashed a little bit. So in the last song, we got to see them put on this weird dream sequence of a band performance as they continued to get brainwashed and reach out into outer space with some crazier signals, trying to find any other survivors. And that brings us up to this song, It Feels Fine Now. This is a little bit of a deep outer space ballet between the doctor and the farmer. They're the only two in this song, so it's a little bit of a duet. And they're also the only two in this video. So as like a very special treat for myself, and I'll show you guys as well so you can see a little bit of it. I actually used a little bit of AI image generation to make like kind of a storyboard for this video. So I'm gonna play a sample of the song now and include with it just a little snippet of this storyboard so we can get a feel for what this one is supposed to look like before we talk about the plot. So here we go with a little sample from It Feels Fine Now. Okay, so that's what it sounds like, at least the instrumental parts of that song. So, and as I mentioned, I want this video to feel kind of like a space ballet. There is a little bit of a plot point that happens in the beginning of the song. Right in the opening, we discover that the doctor is trying to avoid her brainwashing. So we see her watching a tablet that has this emergency protocol on it, and it's supposed to be brainwashing her. But the tablet is noticing that she keeps closing her eyes, and it's like making her open her eyes before the video can proceed. But this is meant to show that the doctor this whole time has been doing everything she can to avoid the brainwashing. And in like a contrast to that, let's just say, the doctor is avoiding the brainwashing, but the farmer, in true counterpoint, is just totally losing it. Like, just whatever handle the farmer had on this situation, whatever he was doing to keep his wits about him, is totally gone. So in like a weird switch here, because for most of this story of this album, The farmer has been the one who's sort of calm and cool and collected, while the doctor is having some very like emotional sort of freakouts, I guess you could say. And at this point, the dynamic in their relationship between the two of them has kind of flipped. So since the doctor has been avoiding the brainwashing, she is still very with it. She's probably one of the only lucid members of the crew, with the exception possibly of the mechanic, who is still passed out, still in a coma. And then you've got that sort of combined with the farmer, who, because the farmer is such a rule follower, just he immediately latched on to this emergency protocol and has been watching all of his brainwashing videos like in a religious fashion. So not only is the farmer totally brainwashed, but also has totally succumbed to this isolation and this sort of claustrophobia of being in the ship this long. And for the greater like vibes of this video, I'm imagining sort of like a bluish purple, like washed out feeling. So we really want it to feel like the Mad Knives are inside their own heads as much as possible. So even the video is sort of like a washed out, hazy type of vibe. And basically all that happens through this one is the farmer is just losing his mind in the lyrics and just in everything he's doing. And since they're in sort of zero gravity, I'm imagining most of this happening like as the farmer and the doctor get on and off of their bunk beds and do like some weird sort of like spins and embraces in the zero gravity in the center of the ship. And really the key is just that finally the doctor is taking care of the farmer. And the song ends with the doctor tucking the farmer into bed, sort of getting him settled down and hopefully to sleep. And then the doctor returns to her bed and sort of lays there with like the weight of several types of decisions heavy on her shoulders. She's trying to decide what to do and trying to keep from getting too brainwashed in the meantime. Okay, that's I think that's about it for this song. It Feels Fine Now. Like I said, this is the 9th out of 10 songs as far as if we were in the story circle. In the last song, they turned the ship around and they're heading back towards the rendezvous point. And this one is sort of like beginning to solidify the changes that the Mad Knives have gone through as they go back towards what could be their home. Only one song left in this first album, and then we're going to kind of stop with the story series because I don't want to get us too far into the future, and it'll be time to do some different types of videos and talk about some different parts of the project. But as of right now, the farmer has totally lost it. The pilot and the co-pilot are also just becoming fully brainwashed. The doctor is trying to avoid it, and the mechanic is still completely in a coma with one song left. So go and watch the rest of the story series videos if you want to catch up. Stay tuned next week for the final installment. And other than that, thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.